This is another fishing podcast.
You hear this lure more than you see it. It's very pronounced. It's this lure right here,
Right.
The Chapo. Talk about that. That is a fantastic bait.
Right. So the Chapo Boy, when we launched that 2018 with Justin Lucas. So, you know, we developed in a series of years, probably 18 different topwater baits with Justin Lucas, right? And this one was the one we came out initially with the 90 and a 120. We've since filled the line with a 110, and my favorite is the 75. I think the one in the picture you have is the 90. That but like that bait, there's some not samples, but there's products that have been around in the market like that. The Top Raider, for example. The Top Raider, I think, was the first one that I can recall.
Perfect example. Not to cut you off, but I've filmed a ton of muskie, shows, and the Top Raider was a muskie bait, correct? Isn't that right?
Yeah.
So it was already like a lot of these lures. It's kind of interesting how in fishing, it's kind of segmented, right? Like, guys that have been using a certain kind of musky lure that's very productive, they might have never even heard of that kind of lure, that style of lure in bass fishing, or same with like bass fishing. A certain kind of lure has never even been heard of in walleye fishing. I'm not doing a good job articulating this, but fishing is so segmented that it's funny. Like I saw what would you call that, plopper style bait or whatever. I saw it in muskie fishing long before I ever saw it being used in bass fishing. But anyway, I digress.
No, yeah. And so, that bait was fun. What we did that was different than the ones out there, though, is we actually, and I don't really have one here to tell the story, but they're back there somewhere. We actually took the tail and we made it out of a rigid hard plastic. So it's more rigid. It never deforms. It always stays in place. It's lighter. It catches. Like I actually took them to kind of like this airflow chamber, right? So it's, here's the physics thing, right? So I could take the competitors and other ones on the market, and I could check how fast the tail prop turned at standard air speeds. And ours was just humming, man, and the other ones weren't. So, looking to be able to do that and using technology to enhance the bait. We also increased the surface area and the angle that tail sat. So as it's going through the water, it's creating even more turbulence, a louder sound. So we pay attention to the little things that change shapes too. So you look at that bait, and it's kind of an homage to an old bait that's been around since probably, I think, when the Whopper Ploppers came out a little bit before it, and then the Top Raider, I think that came out in, what was it, late 80s, early 90s?
That sounds right. Yeah.
But it's different, and it looks different in terms of, like, if you look at the tail and the function of the bait. I didn't want the bait to roll over. was a challenging thing. So there's a lot of positive things with this bait that we put in the time and effort in making it enhanced and making it a great fish catcher. And it's one of my favorite baits. There's a lot of baits that are my favorite baits, apparently, that I say, like this.